If you love baked pasta casseroles, but only the brown crispy top layer, well, you can have a dinner that is only the top layer. This vegetable-heavy sheet pan pasta dinner is a riff on a recipe my wife Lauren has been making, which is in turn a riff on a New York Times recipe, and please don't consider it a recipe, it's just a technique. Use whatever ingredients you have and flavors you like. Get a little pot of water coming to a boil for the pasta, big pinch of salt in there. First thing I'm going to do is make a seasoned breadcrumb topping. I'll zest this lemon. You could even do 2 lemons. We're going to use the juice at the end. Then I'll grate some cheese. This is pecorino. Don't ask me how much. It's just a pile. Knock all that sticky lemon zest out of there. I'll pick some fresh thyme leaves, but any fresh herb would be fine. Then I've got 1 red chili, sliced thin, and I will stop when I get to the top where most of the seeds and the heat live. A couple of cloves of garlic, cut off the root ends, smash to release the skin, and peel. Then I'll just chop all of these things into each other. It absolutely could be placebo effect, but I could swear that aromatic ingredients create new and better aromatic compounds when you chop them into each other like this. Regardless, it all needs to be chopped up fine, so you might as well do it in one big mess. In a bowl with you, and then I will mix in a roughly equal quantity of panko breadcrumbs. Any kind of breadcrumb is fine, but panko is basically always better. It's crispier. Get that really well blended, and there's our topping. Next, I'll grate up half a pound, 226 grams of low moisture mozzarella cheese, though honestly I think fresh mozzarella would also work here. Throw that in a bowl. We won't need it until the end. Here's a pound, 454 grams of Brussels sprouts. For each one, I will cut off the stem end, and I'm going to quarter them. You could get away with halves if they're small. Any decayed outer leaves should just fall off in the process of cutting. I love roasted Brussels sprouts, but you could use any vegetable that roasts well, as long as you can cut it into pretty small pieces. Cauliflower would be dynamite. I think the Times uses broccoli. I'm not wild about roasted broccoli, but you do you, NYT. Here's my sheet pan. Onto that, I will spread like 4 ounces, 113 grams of thickly diced pancetta. You could use any fatty cured meat as long as it's in reasonably big chunks. Sausage would be great. You could skip the meat entirely or use 2-3 times as much. I'm just throwing it into a cold oven. I will turn on the broiler/grill and let the meat heat up slowly. Meanwhile, I can mow through my second 1-pound bag of Brussels sprouts. I'm using 2 pounds of sprouts and half a pound or half a box of pasta. That's going to get me a really healthy, vegetable-heavy meal, but you could use just like 1 pound of sprouts and the whole box of pasta, and you would get more traditional proportions. And now is probably a good time for me to drop my pasta. Any big, chunky shape will work, but really the perfect one, I think, is cascatelli. That's the new shape famously designed by my old public radio buddy, Dan Pashman, host of the Sporkful podcast. Half a pound of that, 223 grams into the pot. You know, I've been listening to Dan's book lately on Audible, sponsor of this video. It's called Eat More Better, and of course he reads it himself.
On the definition of sandwich. On this matter, friends, I am a strict constructionist.
I rely on Audible all the time to help me make the boring moments of my life a little more entertaining and enlightening. Your Audible membership gets you 1 title a month that you can keep in your library forever. New releases, celebrity memoirs, mysteries, business books, whatever. You also get unlimited access to tons and tons of back catalog books, Audible Originals shows, relaxation and meditation tracks, podcasts like The Sporkful or the Adam Ragusa Pod. That's all unlimited. Let Audible help you discover new ways to laugh, be inspired, or be entertained. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Adam Ragusa or text Adam Ragusa to 500-500. Try Audible free for 30 days with my link in the description. Thank you, Audible. Anyway, fat melts at a relatively low temperature, so starting the pancetta in a cold oven gave the fat lots of time to render out before the meat started to cook and brown under that broiler. It looks almost done, which is good. The meat will not really be able to get much crispier once we mix in 2 pounds of Brussels sprouts. I've got a couple of carrots I can throw in there too. If I slice them thin, they should cook in about the same time as the sprouts. Carrots on the pile, and then enough salt to basically season all of the veg. All of the other elements of this dish come with their own salt. I'm just tossing everything in the salt and rendered fat, of which there is plenty. I am not burning myself. All of this mass has sucked all the heat out of the pan and the fat, but you can use a spatula or something to be safe. And if you're not using meat, just toss all of this in olive oil. Get everything to a nice even layer so that it cooks evenly, and then back under the broiler it goes. The package says to boil this pasta for 13 minutes. I've had it boiling for 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop now and drain. It's going to soften some more as it sits around, and it's going to soften even more in the oven later. I've got a couple of shallots that I'm going to peel and dice fine. If I was using a full-sized onion, I would have put that in with the sprouts, but shallot layers are thinner, so they're going to cook faster. Sprouts look maybe halfway done. It's been maybe 5 minutes. Now I'll throw on the shallots. Oh, also I wanted a little handful of whole fennel seeds, though honestly any spice would be fine. Just put it in maybe halfway through the cooking so that it doesn't burn. Toss, 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 get everything coated in pancetta fat and back under the broiler. Now I can clean up a little and, give that drained pasta a shake every now and then. Otherwise all the pieces are going to glue together. Okay, veg looks almost done. I'm going to turn my broiler off right now because if you leave it on for too long, it can trip a breaker that's designed to keep the element from overheating and melting down onto your food. About a third of my grated mozzarella goes on, followed by all of my pasta, and now I will toss. The purpose of this dose of cheese is to hold all the pieces together in a little melty matrix. Level that off smooth, then I'm going to drop in a half-pound, 223-gram tub of ricotta cheese in dollops. This offers some nice creamy heterogeneity, and the tops of the dollops brown really nice under the broiler. Nestle them in there. I say use the full-fat ricotta, otherwise it just tastes like nothing. My remaining mozzarella I will scatter on top, kind of avoiding the ricotta dollops because I want those to be able to brown. Same deal with my seasoned breadcrumb topping. Get it everywhere except on the ricotta. Man, that topping smells really good. Now I'll just drizzle everything with olive oil. Olive oil tastes great and will enhance browning. Throw it under and watch it carefully. It'll only need a few minutes before things start to burn. If you don't have a broiler, that super hot top element that Brits call a grill, I'd say just crank your oven as hot as it'll go. It'll take more time and more electricity, and the browning won't be quite as nice, but you'll still get an excellent dinner. It really is like the top layer of the casserole fired the bottom layer and went solo. Squeeze on the juice from that lemon. That is key, in my opinion. I might even like 2 lemons for this much food, which is enough for 4 people, at least. I suppose you could cut it into sections and slide them onto plates, but I say everybody just gathers around the pan with forks. The pan will keep everything hot. Thin food goes cold fast. Look at the browning on that piece of cascatelli. You don't even notice that you're eating mostly vegetables. Nice.